Hello and welcome back to Karma Stories. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today I have a single story for you from the Best of Redditors update, originally from the AmITheA subreddit. Before we start today, a quick shout out to all of you listening and watching on Spotify. If you didn't know already, you can rotate your phone on Spotify and watch the video there, just like everybody over on YouTube. If that isn't impressive, then I don't know what is. Make sure to give us a 5-star rating on Spotify if you're on there, and let's just jump right in. This one comes to us from your mother's secret lover. Am I the butthole for refusing to pick up my half-brother from school until his stepmom apologizes to me? The initial situation happened months ago, but is still being made an issue again with the school year starting. I, 17 female, have a half-brother, 8 male. We share a mom but have different dads. I don't see him often since he primarily stays with his dad, who I'll call Jeff. Jeff has been married to AmITheA for a few years now, who has 3 kids prior to their relationship, and now she and Jeff have had 2 more kids together. None of their children are old enough to drive. AmITheA doesn't like me because she sees me as an extension of my mother. They had a falling out since my mom dated AmITheA's brother, who turned out to get physical, and AmITheA called my mom a liar. And I don't want to force a relationship with her, so I just leave it alone. I rarely see my brother outside of birthdays and have no relationship with his step or half siblings. I live very close to my brother's school, and while I generally don't like kids or being around them, I've agreed to pick him up from school a handful of times when AmITheA couldn't. Jeff's hours don't allow him to do so, and she's a stay-at-home mom. This all happened this past May. I'm fairly alternative, dyed hair and multiple facial piercings, and I'm used to getting odd looks or questions from children, but I never had to get out of the car to pick up my brother, so this was never an issue. My brother was sick and needed to be taken home early, so Jeff called and asked me to pick him up, and I wasn't busy, so I agreed. This was the first time I've needed to actually enter the building, but I was on the approved pickup list, so I didn't have any issues. I went inside, got to the nurse, got my brother, and dropped him off back home with 0 problems. Until AmITheA called me the next day. I was unaware she even had my number, so I declined her calls at first. When she began to scream at me for getting her in trouble with the school, I asked what she meant, as again, I had no problems picking him up, and she started to berate me for scaring my brother's classmates. Apparently, one of the other children that had been in the nurse's office had been scared of me, as well as a few kids asking questions when I walked past open classrooms. I don't have any extreme body modifications, literally just hair and piercings. And the boy from the nurse cried to his teacher, the same class as my brother, who notified AmITheA and requested I no longer do pickups. I don't even think this is legal. Maybe not the right word, but I should be able to make a complaint about her requesting this since it's based on physical appearance, seeing as I caused no disruption, and the only people I even saw were the secretary, front desk admin, the nurse, and the kids in the nurse's office. Either way, AmITheA told the teacher that was not an option, but she would tell me to take out my piercings next time I was at the school. I feel like multiple empty holes in my face would be scarier than the piercings, but that's neither here nor there, so whatever. I told AmITheA I would not be taking out my piercings every single time I picked him up, and that usually I don't even go inside the building or see anyone for this to be a problem. I don't pick him up often, but I have quite a few piercings. It takes me around an hour, sometimes longer, to take them all out, clean them, and put them all back in. Those little balls are obnoxious to screw back in with long nails and shaky hands. While I wouldn't be cleaning them every time I picked him up, it is a long and tedious process that I don't like to do more than necessary. She told me it wasn't a big ask, and while I agree it mostly isn't, I feel more disrespected than anything because I think that's a fairly unprofessional way for the teacher to behave. AmITheA told me the teacher had every right to protect her students, and that either way, I shouldn't be punishing her because she wasn't the one asking. I was even more offended by this because I'm not a threat or a danger. I literally am just alternative. I just realized I didn't mention this before, but my outfit was also entirely appropriate. It was plain black sweatpants and a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles shirt. AmITheA said this was the reason she didn't allow me to be around her kids. I've never asked to be around them since I don't like kids. And I said if she has an issue with me, she can lose my number and find someone else to pick up my brother when she can't. She continued to scream at me and tell me I was just like my mom, which was when I finally hung up and blocked her. I've seen my brother maybe twice since then, since I primarily communicate with him through Jeff. We play Roblox together, but he doesn't have a phone or social media, who told me he was disappointed, and I told him he has no authority over me, so I didn't really care what he had to say, and the issue hasn't been discussed since then until today. My brother starts school next week, and Jeff called me and told me AmITheA requested I start picking my brother up again. I said no and reminded him of what happened last time, and he began to get very aggressive, saying that they aren't asking for much. I told him it was no longer about the request, and it was how his wife spoke to me. I said I wouldn't do them any favors of any kind. He began to guilt trip me and ask how my brother would feel knowing his sister can't stand to be around him, and threatened to not let me come to my brother's birthday in a few weeks. I told Jeff I don't care about not attending my brother's birthday, since I don't even like kids, and I would just see my brother another time. And he told me he wouldn't let me be around my brother until I apologized to his wife, and agreed to pick my brother up from school again. I told him I would only agree to pick up my brother with an apology from AmITheA, and hung up. This puts me in a kind of difficult position because I could just see my brother when he has visitation with our mom, but we aren't on speaking terms right now, so I would have to break our temporary no contact in order to do this. I live with my dad and his mother and see my mom 1 to 2 times a month max. My dad and grandma say I should just suck it up and apologize to AmITheA. They don't have a good relationship with my mom, and she hasn't been allowed to step foot in the house since I was 12. But I really don't want to do this. Me and my brother aren't particularly close, but we have a good relationship, and I don't want to jeopardize it because of an issue I have with his stepmom, since I know he enjoys spending time with me because I'm his only sister. All of AmITheA's and Jeff's kids are boys, so I don't want to hurt him over this. Am I the butthole for refusing to pick my brother up from school until his stepmom apologizes? OP added a quick edit down at the bottom. It says, edit. A few of the replies seemed kinda confused since the post is so long it can get hard to understand. But to clarify, I'm a girl, and I have zero relation to Jeff or AmITheA. Me and my brother share a mother and stay with our respective fathers, his being Jeff. AmITheA is Jeff's wife, my brother's stepmom. I do not live with AmITheA and Jeff. I've decided to take advice from a few comments and call the school and ask if there is a policy stating I cannot pick up my brother with facial piercings. And I will likely either agree to disagree with AmITheA, depending on how the call with the school goes, plus her reaction to the call, or resume contact with my mom to see my brother during visitation. Thank you for the advice and support. Jumping down to the comments on this one, we have one from a user called You Won't Remember Me. It says, not the butthole. Manipulation and entitlement abounds with AmITheA. Stick to your guns. AmITheA obviously needs you to pick up your brother, but has absolutely no intention of apologizing. Have you rung the school and asked what AmITheA has said is actually true? There's a lot of alternative out there. The reactions described seem over the top to me. Side glances and openly gawking, yes. Freaking out and running screaming to the teacher. Are you sure that AmITheA isn't lying? Or at a minimum, stretching the truth by dramatizing the heck out of it? Another commenter down below called Do Yogurt 4916 said, call the school, she's lying. They don't discriminate anymore. Most teachers now have piercings and tattoos. She's starting crap for her own ego. Refused to help at all without a written apology on social media. Also, post her messages and sit back and let dad take the fallout from everyone telling him to check his wife. One more user down below called Casserole422 said, not the butthole. I don't suppose they've ever heard the saying, don't bite the hand that feeds you. I would be permanently refusing to pick their little ankle biter up. I would hate to scare or embarrass anyone at the school again. They didn't know how lucky they were to have an oh crap person to scoop their kid up on such short notice. Their kid, their problem. Yeah, OP, I don't think I would apologize to the manipulators trying to get you to do things for them if they're going to mistreat you like that, because You don't need that kind of BS in your life. Maybe getting back in touch with your mom makes more sense if you want to be able to actually see your brother. Now, from what you were saying though, I'm not sure you actually really do want to spend time with your brother because you keep saying that while you have a good relationship, you really don't like kids. And now you're mulling over whether you want to get back in touch with your mom to see your brother when your brother is at your mom's. I'm really curious to see how the update on this one goes, so let's jump into that one now. The update is titled, Update, Am I the Butthole for refusing to pick my brother up from school till his stepmom apologizes to me. Sorry about the late update, I got busy with school since my first semester is all AP classes. I did what many of you said and emailed the school to ask if there was any policy stating I couldn't do pickups or drop-offs or be on campus due to piercings. And like most of you said, they said no. I explained to them why I was asking, and they said they would ask the teacher about the incident, but told me there was nothing they could do if AmITheA took me off the pickup list. So I thanked them and gave them my number and requested they call me once they're done investigating the incident with the teacher. The next day, the school called me to let me know the teacher confirmed there was a staring issue and a few questions from my brother's classmates. Forgot to mention, I stood in the doorway and waited for him to collect his things after checking him out of the nurse's office. But that was all, and that she did not say anything of the sort to AmITheA. I decided to call Jeff and let him know about my conversation with the school, and reiterated I would only continue to pick up my brother with an apology from his wife, or at least some kind of acknowledgement that she had lied to me. He told me he would have AmITheA call me, so I unblocked her and waited. She did call to apologize, but it was very reluctant and dropped the bombshell that she is pregnant again and used that as an excuse. I decided to just let it go because I don't want to damage my relationship with my brother, and it just wasn't worth it. Until today, when I picked my brother up and he asked why I have so much metal in my face. He's never said anything before about the piercings, unless I've gotten a new one. So I asked him what caused him to bring it up. Again, a lot of you were correct. One of AmITheA's older sons had asked to get his ears pierced, and she attributed it to me even though I never see my brother's step and half-brothers. She'd been complaining about it often around my brother, I guess trying to bait him into saying my piercings bothered or scared him too. I asked him if they did scare him, and he said no, and he doesn't really think about them. But AmITheA constantly said things like, I just don't understand why she does that to herself. She's so pretty without the metal crowding her face, etc. I'm not sure how relevant this is, but her and my mom were close friends before their falling out, and AmITheA has a son about 1.5 years younger than me, not the one asking to get his ears pierced, and often joked about setting us up before I started leaning more alternative. So I think that's where the "she's so pretty" comments come from. I was frustrated, but didn't want to upset my brother, so I just decided to change the subject, and instead of dropping my brother off and immediately leaving, I told AmITheA I wanted to come inside and speak to her. She told me it wasn't a good time, and I insisted it was, so she came outside and we talked on the porch. I told her again that if my piercings were an issue, she could find someone else to pick my brother up, but I would appreciate it if she stopped constantly complaining about them to the rest of her family. She told me it was none of my concern what she said in the privacy of her own home. And I said it was my concern when she was actively trying to bait my half-brother into speaking negatively about me. She again told me she could say whatever she wanted in her own house, and I was just too tired to argue. So I told her if my brother came to me again to tell me she'd been complaining about me, I would stop picking him up and just see him during my mom's visitations. She was very huffy, but agreed and went back inside, slamming the door in my face. This should be the last update. I'm just going to tolerate AmITheA in order to maintain contact with my brother, because I don't care about her antics, and I have enough other things going on. I'll continue only communicating with AmITheA and Jeff when necessary, and hope nothing else will come out of this. Thanks for the support, y'all. Jumping down to the comments on this one, we have one from a user called AdLive6745. It says, and she is going to tell brother to stop telling OP what she says. Have a conversation with bro, letting him know he can always talk to you. No family secrets. Another commenter down below called Mary E. Friendly said, "She sounds immature as heck. She flat out lied to you, screamed at you for some scenario she made up, talks poorly about you to your brother, and still expects you to do her favors. You need to talk to Jeff and tell him you no longer want any form of contact with AmITheA, and explain the lying, manipulation, and verbal abuse are an absolute no-go. She owes you a sincere apology and a thank you for being available to help even when she mistreats you. Also, it sounds like your mom has a beef with everyone. She's the common denominator. I mean, she lost primary custody of both her kids, you're not on speaking terms, and she's not allowed in your dad's house. Sounds like she effed everything up for everyone." This story was awesome because OP actually took the advice from the comments on the first part and went and talked to the school. She was able to confirm that all of the issue was basically coming from AmITheA. Sure, the kids in the class asked some questions, but that's just normal when they see a person that they don't recognize or a style that they don't recognize. That happens. They're kids. They ask questions. I honestly don't know what to say to OP at this point, whether they should get back in touch with their mom and see their brother through their mom, if they should completely cut AmITheA out, and I just really don't know. I'd love for you all to comment down below and let me know what you think, but OP's got AmITheA that tries to tell OP what to do, but when OP tries to turn it back around to AmITheA, they say don't tell me what to do. And then we've got OP's mom, which I agree with the commenter, seems like they are the common denominator to everything going wrong in this whole family. So let me know in the comments what you all think, because I'm kind of mentally checked out on this one at this point. And with that being said, I think we'll end this one here. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow us on your preferred podcasting platform. If you're on Spotify, please give us a 5-star rating because it really does help us out in the Spotify algorithm. I thank you all for watching and listening. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.